Right, hello. So it's the end of a very long week, and I just performed another survey. So without further ado, let's get to the topic. So my hypothesis for the survey was that more people would visit Starbucks than Pacific Coffee, and what I had to do was I had to go down to the mall near where I lived. And the very convenient thing about the entire survey was that there was a Pacific Coffee and a Starbucks like right next to each other in the middle of the mall. So basically, the closer the two shops are like together, the more accurate your results are going to be. So if you're thinking about doing a survey similar to what I did yesterday, then I highly recommend that you choose, two shops that are sort of closer to each other rather than in two separate locations that are kilometers apart from each other. So yes, so you'll be at a huge advantage if you like get them as close as possible to each other. So anyway, moving on. What I had to do was I had to go into, for example, Starbucks, and then with my phone in hand, I sort of counted all the customers that were in like the shop at the time, and then sort of mark down the number that I counted in my phone, and then leave, come back 5 minutes later, and then do the same thing again and do it 20 times, because like the MTR survey, I'd collect 20 pieces of data to make sure that the data that I collected was 100%, or if not 95% accurate, because that's how you like make a good. That's how you perform a good survey, isn't it? So yes, and it's the same case with Pacific Coffee. I did the exact same thing as I did with Starbucks, and in total, the whole survey took me around just over 2 hours to complete. So it wasn't that bad. It wasn't too stressful. I mean, I quite enjoyed it actually because um, you know, I naturally enjoy doing surveys. I mean, it's just in my blood. So yes. So so reviewing like data. This is like the average data that I collected. So on average, Starbucks had a customer count of 33 people, and averagely Pacific Coffee had a customer count of 30 people. So that's a three customer difference, and it's not that big of a difference, but still just enough to give Starbucks the upper hand. Um, um, so yes, that was um, so yes, as you can probably guess, here I'll just show you the data, because what I did was actually, as soon as I got home, I sort of copied the results from my phone onto Excel, and then here I'll get this mouse out of the way, and then from Excel I sort of converted it to this sort of bar chart version of the data that I collected during the survey. So I'm sure you can pause the video while pause the video if you want to take a closer look at that. And so yes, as you probably know by now, Starbucks did actually win 15 of the 20 times that I went in. Um, so I guess that they sort of are the winners. Unlike, but for Pacific Coffee, they did actually manage to pull ahead of Starbucks. I counted up 5 times. Um, so an example of that is the fourth time I went in, so it was 20 minutes into the survey or something. I keep knocking that. Pacific Coffee had 40 customers in their shop, and um, Starbucks had 35 customers in their shop at that point in time. So that was a 5 customer difference. It's quite a lot compared to the other comparisons that you can make in this bar or this table, whatever. Um, and yeah, so I mean, if you compare this to the iOS versus Android survey, where iOS never won a single ride out of the 20 rides I did, and that they drew one, but they didn't win a single one. I mean, in Android's case, apart from the one that they drew with iOS, they just outnumbered iOS by a ratio of 4-1 or even 5-1 sometimes. So yes, Pacific Coffee have sort of proven something, that they can actually be more popular at times than Starbucks. So yes, but so 5 out of 20 is that's what they won 1/4 of the survey, but again the remaining 3/4 went to Starbucks. So I guess Starbucks are still, at the moment they're still more slightly, ever so slightly more popular than Pacific Coffee. But if you compare Pacific Coffee to a few years ago, I mean they're really risen, they're really growing. So I can like predict that in 10 years maybe Pacific Coffee will overtake sorry, will overtake Starbucks in this little competition. So yeah, so whoops, to conclude my hypothesis, in conclusion, I conclude that my hypothesis has been proven mostly correct, as Starbucks won 15 of the 20 times that I went in, but the fact that Pacific Coffee won 5 out of the 20 times I went in, that fact sort of um, proves my hypothesis slightly what is it? What do you call it? Partially incorrect. That's the word. Um, but still, I'm fine with that. I mean, that's what hypotheses are for. And yeah, I'm quite I'm quite I'm quite well, not surprised, but I'm quite sort of surprised to see that, because I was actually expecting Starbucks to just um double Pacific Coffee score, but it's pretty much equal during the whole thing. So I mean, in the iOS versus Android thing, it was just one-sided. It was getting boring. But for this, unexpectedly, I was actually it was tense, because Pacific Coffee was catching up, and then they'd be going back down. Then it'll all be equal, and then like it'll just be tense and like exciting compared to the iOS versus Android survey. So I enjoyed this. If I had to pick out of the two surveys I've done so far, I'd say that this one was more interesting, because it was more competitive than the other previous survey. So yes, I guess that's it for today's survey review video. So let me know down in the comments below, if you visit Starbucks or Pacific Coffee, or if you visit both. Tell me that as well, and tell me. Oh, keep knocking that. And also tell me if you believe my theory that in the future, my prediction, if you believe my prediction that in around a decade, Pacific Coffee will overtake Starbucks and will be more popular and more visited than it is today. So let me know what you think of that down in the comments, or if you want, you can put that, you can tweet what you think of that on my Twitter page. I'll leave a link to that down in the description below. And my full name, so I might as well leave the link to my Facebook page in the link below. And the next time I make a video will probably be in the next few days. I mean, apart from Liverpool and predictions, there's not much I can do. I mean, I've done all the surveys. You can uh, I, I'm asking you now, for the sake of like making my videos interesting, could you like suggest what other surveys I should perform, like Lamborghini versus Ferrari, or Heineken beer versus Tiger beer, like stuff like that? Just suggest it down in the comments below, or my Twitter page, as I just said. So yes, I look forward to my next video, where I shall share, where hopefully I'll be sharing something interesting that will entertain you guys, and I'll see you then. Alright, bye.